you for coming. I'd like to thank NMUNC for this presentation, Sabio for sponsoring the presentation, and Hospital Services Corporation for hosting us this evening. So tonight's presentation is why should you be up here, right? Clearly, some of this is we need speakers, so we want you to come up here and speak, right? And so hopefully after I'm finished with this, you will feel more comfortable about speaking about a topic. Secondly, as the Scrum and the Agile processes get more and more prevalent, one of the features of it is the end of the sprint review, and during the review there's a demo. So more and more of us are going to be expected to be able to give presentations, particularly technical presentations and demos. So it's important to learn how to do that. So why should you give a presentation to a user group? Well, it should be personal, right? Don't ask me what you should present. I don't know what you should present. You know what you should present. You know what you want to present, right? At some point when you're good and you've been doing this for a long time, then you can walk up and somebody goes, well, here's a presentation, can you give it? And you're like, sure, right? But in the beginning, make sure the presentations are about what you want, not about what somebody else wants, okay? While you're doing this, you're learning to work on your public speaking, right? I'm not standing behind a podium. I'm not hiding. I'm not sitting down. I'm being forced to communicate, right? That's a good thing, right? Some of us and many of us don't communicate very much outside of our groups, okay? Share something you've learned, right? I'm sharing something I've learned. I've been a teacher now for 8 years. I've learned how to do presentations. You can give me a presentation, I don't even know the content, and I can present it and probably make you think that I knew the content, right? Because at this point I've done it, right? I can do it, okay? Matter of fact, I have given a presentation on subnetting and I still don't know how to subnet. And the students were like, wow, that was the best explanation of subnetting I've ever been to. And I was like, great. Walked out of there and went, yeah. You know, develop a brand. Are you looking for a new job? Do you think you ever will be looking for a new job? Do you think it would be helpful to be standing in front of people who hire people who know that they have job openings and go, wow, you know, there's that one kid, he gave the thing about TypeScript. Man, who was that guy? I like that presentation. I want to bring him in. I'm going to see if he's available for an interview, right? I think that guy should come work for me, right? So build your brand, right? Heck, we record these. So you get to put them out on YouTube and now you're famous, right? You're on the internet, right? You're worldwide, okay? Do something you had never thought you would do. How many of you actually have ever thought that you were going to give a presentation, right? You ever thought about giving a presentation?
It hasn't crossed my mind.
Yeah? Why haven't you?
Because I hate getting up there.
You hate getting up here, right? I get it, right? And no, the trick of imagining people naked doesn't work, right? A and B were IT guys.
Yeah. I don't have time for naked.
Right, that's really, let's not go there, right? So the honest to gosh thing here is that it's hard to get up here. The first time, and man, you're gonna sweat in your palms, you know, but the reality is it's not so bad, right? Because once you start talking about something you want to talk about, all the rest of it goes away, right? This isn't like school where you're like, hey, can you give me a 5-minute presentation on tractors? And you're like, who wants to give a presentation on tractors besides the guy from Iowa, right? But so the reality is when you're giving a presentation on something that you want to talk about, man, time's going to fly. Chances are we're going to have to stop you because you're going to be so excited and amped up because you're sharing and people are interacting with you and they're digging what you're saying, and that feels good. It really does feel good, right? When you see a light bulb go off in somebody's head, man, that just, you know, that can make your night, right? That can make many nights. Okay? So whatever your reason is up here, or if your reason's not up here, it's the right reason, right? it is the right reason to give a presentation. You should want to give a presentation, right? For no other reason than we need speakers.
Amen.
Okay? What should you present? Again, something meaningful to you, right? Because again, and hopefully it's coming across, this is meaningful to me, right? I want to carry on the NMUG thing. I don't want it to end. That's why I'm up here. That's why I brought this presentation, right? It's meaningful to me. I want you guys to present, okay? We don't care. I don't care if you come in here and say, Brian, I want to present on something that everybody in the world probably knows. Because frankly, come on in, give me a new perspective, right? Don't sit there and think, well, there's nothing I do that's cool. I promise you, in 5 minutes of sitting there and talking to you, I can probably pick 2 or 3 topics that would be great for you to give in a presentation, right? What do you do at work?
Working with Angular right now.
You're working with Angular. We have not had an Angular presentation, so we'll see you in July.
Yeah.
Right? So, right? It really is that easy, right? And Angular's so big, right, that we could have 2 of them. We could have one of them every 6 months and probably never touch on the same Angular topic twice, right? Unless both people give a hello world in Angular, and then that would be, but we'd still take it, right? Because we'd get a different audience, right? So Angular is fine. Bootstrap is another conversation that's come up that Dave's working on, right? I'm thinking I've got some SQL Server file system stuff I want to do. I've got a lot of stuff, you know, and there's constantly stuff going on in your work, stuff that you did. Did you go to Stack Overflow, find the solution, and then make the solution better? Well, why don't you present about it, right? You only got 5 or 10 minutes of content? Tell me. Maybe we'll get 4 or 5 people with 5 or 10 minutes worth of content, and we'll make a night of it, right? So let's work with this, okay? Present something you're passionate about, right? Are you passionate about Angular? Or are you just doing Angular because, well, that's what my boss is?
Well, it was up for me to do the research and decide which platform to use, and I chose Angular. Though I did not know anything about it, I had to do a crash course of learning it, coming up to speed as quickly as I can.
So do you feel that Angular solves the problem that it's supposed to solve?
But I think it's very nice how it's done, but yeah, it does solve the problem, especially when now that, for example, everything's done on the client side now, as opposed to on the server side.
Right.
So, and the JavaScript engine has been improved a lot, so we can see more websites that are more responsive.
Okay.
So, from that aspect, I like it.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
He just did 5-minute presentations.
Yeah, done. Right? This is one of my favorites, right? Take something that you haven't done and you want to learn. Right? You know, Tom and Bootstrap. You know, Tom, you should be August and do a Bootstrap demo because you want and learn it, right? There would be your immersion into the web, right? Yeah. See, but that's exactly what he should do, right? He says no. Why? Because I'm telling him what to present, right? Tom should find his own topic for presentation, right? Okay. Do not present topics for other people until you're really comfortable up here, right? Because you're going to be nervous, and until you get to that point where you're fairly comfortable, you should be focusing on things that you are passionate about, right? Things that you want to talk about, right? And NMUG will be happy to help you, right? I'll be happy to have phone conversations, emails. I'll have you come up here after hours and help you write your PowerPoint. That's fine by me, right? I love mentoring. I love doing this stuff. So talk to me, talk to David, talk to Tom, say, hey, I'm not so sure. And we'll help you out, right? We'll get you through it, right? But I do not have anything to talk about. Really. Right? How many of you go home to your significant other and talk about work? Do you talk about the people, or do you talk about what you did? Right? Your significant other probably cares less about the topic than we would. Right?
Except that my significant other is an IT director.
Well,
My significant other is just a computer.
well, there's that too. I got a couple of bloodhounds, and
Yeah.
they really go, okay, Dad.
Yeah, no problem, got
No,
that.
no problem. You're doing good, Dad. Keep the kibble coming, right? So, you do stuff at work that's cool, right? You solve problems. If you weren't solving problems, if you weren't doing pretty decent, cool, neat stuff, you would be gone, right? We wouldn't need you, right? I Google stuff every day. You know where I come up with, I got 1 billion blog posts and other topics that I've been coming up with, and it all starts with, I had a problem, I went to Google, I found the solution, I didn't like the solution that I found, but I was able to tweak it, and so now here's a thing that I can either present on or blog on or whatever, or share with my team, because I just learned something cool, right? So those are, every day there are topics that you can come across that can be a 5-minute or a longer presentation, okay? Talk to somebody else. If you start to notice that you're talking to your coworker and your coworker's like, that's really cool, how'd you do that? Can you show me how to do that? Topic! Right? It's a topic. Okay? Others have talked about it before. And? How long has it been? Right? We're not going to book 2 of them in a row, right? So don't worry about it. You know, if you do Angular in July, we're not going to bring somebody back in August. Angular won't come up again until, in the next year probably. I think we're working on trying to have like a 6-month sort of kind of rotation between speakers and topics, and where possible, to give some distance. But don't worry if we've already talked about this, because chances are either A, you're going to present a different way, or B, and even better yet, there's going to be a different group of people in this room who are going to get their eyes lit up by their topic. I would say 1 in 3, maybe 2 in 3 NMUGs I go to, I light up. Because I'm like, wow, I wanted to do that. Matter of fact, after the TypeScript demo, I went home and I tried to learn how to do TypeScript and Angular at the same time. Don't recommend it. Start one or the other, but don't do both at the same time. But that topic spurred me on to say, and I was like, well, I also want to learn Angular, so this should just be easy, right? TypeScript's JavaScript, Angular's JavaScript. Why not? Right? But I did. I walked out of this meeting gung-ho to learn TypeScript, right? Because a guy came in and showed me some really cool stuff I could do with JavaScript, and I was like, that's neat. I'm not a JavaScript hater. I used to be back in the, ASP days. All right, so now that I've convinced Eli, right? Julio, sorry. Now that I've convinced Julio for presenting in July, let's help Julio build his presentation. Right? Do you need a PowerPoint? Do you need Prezi?
What is Prezi?
You've never used Prezi?
Never used Prezi.
Prezi is an online PowerPoint that creates motion signals.
Oh.
Because you zoom in and pinpoint and it spins around, and just go search Prezi and look at Prezi presentations. What I've noticed is most people do so much with them that it just gets crazy. Like you click on the eye and you zoom into a new place, and it does all these things, and all I feel like is I've been on a roller coaster.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I like roller coasters, but for some reason Prezi just makes me go,
Okay.
right? No, you don't need anything. You don't need anything else. I've got this nice little orange PowerPoint template, right? I didn't make this. I just grabbed a template, right? You want to do black and white text? Fine. You want to use a whiteboard? Fine. Right? You want to just open up Visual Studio and type? Fine. Right? Doesn't matter. You don't need a PowerPoint, but sometimes it's kind of nice to have them. introduce some topics, 3 or 4 slides maybe, get some stuff going, and then work from there. Okay? Why should you? To convey some technical details, give some history maybe. History's a lot of times history's good. One of my favorite quotes and sayings is context is practically everything when determining meaning, right? And so if you don't have some context, then the users may not know where you're coming from. So if I were to do a SQL Server 2016 presentation, my context is I have a lot of files in my database, but I would rather move them to the file storage system, and I don't want to have to write a system that does both. And SQL 2016's file storage handles that. It's a very nice, structure around, storing files, right? So that's my problem. So I would give you my problem and then tell you why I chose this solution to solve that problem. And that may be all your presentation is, right? You had a problem. You needed a front-end MVC application. You chose Angular. Here's why you chose Angular. Then you move on to the next thing, right? I sat through a presentation at SQL Pass a couple of months ago, and the guy basically said, yeah, so my boss came back and said we had to use Hadoop. So I learned how to use Hadoop, and here's what I learned about Hadoop. Right? And he gave an entire presentation and a good one on Hadoop, right? But the deal was, he was like, yeah, I don't, and truthfully at the end of the presentation, he's like, yeah, I don't like Hadoop. I don't like doing this at all. I could have done it all in SQL Server. I could have done it just as well, but we had to go to the cloud, So, so that was great, right? But I love the fact that here was a presentation, the guy gives it, tells you all about Hadoop, and then at the end basically says, yeah, I wouldn't have used it for this.
But that's knowledge.
Right, and exactly. So, and that's my point. Why, you don't even have to present on something that you thought was good. You can present on why you think something's bad. Maybe I should do a presentation on why I think Entity Framework is bad. I mean, maybe it convinced me it's good. I don't know. That would be a problem I'd crop.
You still think it's bad?
I still don't like it. I still very much like a nice Poco, a little quiet Poco. So, and then, right, so convey some technical details, set the stage, problem statement, right? And that's the easiest presentation format right there. Problem, solution, right? That's all you have to do. Here's my problem. Here's how I solved it. You can get in code. You can get in your whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay? Keep the slide minimal. This slide is not minimal. Right?
Thank you.
And I know that. And I knew that when I built this. But I did it for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to show you what this is not minimal. And 2 is that I am a decent enough speaker that I can pull off a slide like this. Right? I can keep your attention away from the slide and onto me and back to the slide and onto me and back to the slide and onto me. Right? But you if you're new at this slide has got too many words on it. Okay? No paragraphs, talking points only, use animations. So truthfully, that first section, that should be a slide. Right? That would be a good slide. Okay? Secondly, when you move, your audience focuses on you. So, and that's how I can have this, because I move and I stop, and when I stop, I watch your eyes, you all go to the PowerPoint. I start moving again, you start looking at me, and it goes back and forth. Okay? So that's the key here, right? Keep moving, right? Don't, and you guys, I know you guys can't see this, but don't ramrod straight, right? You're not in the Army, right? You're not at parade rest. You're at a technical group where people have pizza on their chins, right? So feel comfortable to You know, feel comfortable to move, right? If you're a fidgeter, take your change out of your pockets, right? For me, I have to keep my stuff in because if I don't, then I go, where's my stuff? So then I'm worried about where my stuff is versus, you know, I'm not going to go play with my coins, right? Choose neutral templates, right? If you're one of those people that have the black and the fuchsia or the green Visual Studios and whatnot, you got to pull that back. You're going to have to go to something a little more black, a little more common, right? Make sure your font size is big enough before you start, right? Or, you know, use Zoom It, which is a great tool for, which I don't have it on this laptop, but it's a great tool for zooming around. You just hit Control 1, I think, and it'll zoom in where you are, and you can move it around. So if you need to highlight something, you can just quickly get in and quickly get out. Okay, so think about that, right? In advance, have your laptop set up. Before you get to the meeting place, have your stuff ready, have everything kind of set up, right? Be prepared, unlike I was kind of earlier today. Tell stories the audience can relate to, right? We're geeks. We're all geeks. We pretty much can relate to all things, right? You want to make a Star Trek joke, pretty much 85% of the people will laugh. You make Star Wars, you probably get the same 85%, right? Unless you get into Star Wars, you know, 5, 6, and 7, and then there's a bunch of young kids who've never seen them, and then you just go, what? Right? So, all right. Tell a story. I'm at work. This is what happened. Here's what happened to me. Right? And then you start going, my boss came into my office and said, I've got to have a MVC app done in 2 weeks. Right? And we all go, yeah, been there. Right? We all been there. So share your experiences. Share your personal, because chances are there's only the people in this room are going to get what you get. Right? They've been there, done that, right? They probably have a series of t-shirts for it. Okay? Be prepared. Create demo slides, right? So when you're at home creating your demo, take screenshots of your demo. Put them in your PowerPoint. Hide those slides. If something should happen and your laptop should go down or you can't get Visual Studio to work or whatever, you just go into your PowerPoint, you hide the slides, and boom, you have a demo. Right? So be prepared, right? Have demo slides. Have a way to easily reset your demo, right? If your demo requires a database to be set up and everything, have a way to quickly be able to refresh that, right? One of the things that I've seen, and you know, Scott Hanselman suggested was, you know, he's a much bigger presenter than I am. You know, but he carries around a USB drive with 5 to 6 virtual machines on them in various states of demo, and he can just flip between, boot up another virtual machine, and off he's running, right? So, you know, of course he's also Microsoft, so apparently he can have 5,000 or 6,000 Visual Studio licenses. The rest of us can't, but you know, use Community Edition, I suppose. Right? Use VMs. Right? Make sure that you are using a cloud service, Box, OneDrive, Google Drive, you know, Dropbox, whatever you're using. Make sure that your PowerPoint is somewhere on the internet, so in case you forgot your USB drive or you forgot your power supply and your battery's dead, or you know, there's a billion different possibilities. So be prepared, right? Be prepared to have your stuff done. You know, I don't know what's going on with this demo here. I need to try to figure out what's going on with this demo here. What's going on with the Don't do that. Right? Talk to us. Right? My demo is crashing. Here's what I'm doing. I'm going here to fix my demo. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. Right? Talk to us. Tell us what you're doing. Right? Don't pretend like your demo isn't crashing. We know your demo is crashing. Okay? We all feel bad for you that your demo is crashing. Talk to us. right? Tell us what you're doing. Look up and go, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to switch to my PowerPoints because I have the slides hidden, right? But don't check out, right? Don't do it. You have to stay engaged with your audience, okay? Watch your body language, right?
You seem angry.
I am angry. I'm angry that there's only one person here. No, I'm kidding. I'm not angry. Right? This is a problem. Right? This is a problem. Even this, which you can't see, which is my feet splayed out to the side, is also a problem. If I'm not pointing at you, I'm not engaging with you. Right? So watch your body language. Right? I have seen presentations. Great presentations. Audience is in it. Everything's going great. The world is smoking, right? Things are moving. And then the guy goes, so, anybody got any questions? And crosses the arms, the room dies. Right? It's just like that. It's body language. It's a thing, right? Don't avoid eye contact with your audience. I get it, right? We're extroverts. We look at other people's shoes, right? The introverts are we look at our own shoes. The deal is we only look at people's shoes. While you're up here, you got to at least pretend like you're looking at people in the eye, but if you can make eye contact and pause for a moment, it will go a long way for getting people in your presentation, right? Don't be afraid to make eye contact. Don't blame mistakes on others, right? The poor man blames his tools. Okay?
But it's Microsoft. It's an opportunity.
It's not an opportunity.
Sorry.
Beat me to it.
Own it, right?
Yeah,
Just go. I'm having a problem, and and you can pause and you can go. Excuse me for just one moment. I'm having a problem, right? But if that moment starts to go too long, then you need to make a quick decision in your head. Am I going to switch to my slides, or am I going to be able to recycle this, right? And end gracefully. And as a hiring manager, I will tell you, if I see somebody's demo go bad and they recover gracefully, I'm remembering your name. Just saying. And it happens to be that I'm a hiring manager and I'm at all these meetings. So there you go. I don't know what that means, but be prepared, right? It's the final takeaway of all this. Be prepared, right? Have USB sticks, USB drives, cloud storage, all that stuff. Have it. Be ready. Email it to yourself. Email it to your work account. Email it to your home account, right? Email it to multiple home accounts. I have 7 or 8 home accounts. I don't know how it just so happens I have 7 or 8. Email them to all of them, right? Whatever. Email them to your buddy, right? Have backups. Be prepared. Okay? Present on something you want to talk about. That's the key. If you don't want to talk about it, it's likely not going to be a great presentation. And then you're not going to want to do it again. So pick something that you're excited about. And if you're excited about it, I guarantee you your audience will be excited about it. I do, right? We've had a couple of presentations in here, and I've seen the lights turn on in most of them because the guy that's presenting and the audience may not have even have thought about this, but all of a sudden they're being presented with TypeScript, or they're being presented with database projects, or they're being presented with Scrum from a different angle, and they're like, whoa, wow. Or Tom's presentation on the whole voice thing in the game, right? I didn't know half of that stuff. I could have lived my entire life not knowing half of that stuff, but now I know it. I think it's cool that there's this whole language in an alphabet, not really an alphabet, but these groupings of letters and whatnot for phonetically pronouncing words. That's neat, right? So, and it's because Tom came up here and really was proud of what he did and was proud of what the product was, that he made a great presentation, right? You know, and I think a lot of us were like, most of us were like, never seen that before, never even thought about it. We're like, right? So, you know, present what you want to present. And then lastly, be conscious of your body language and movement, right? Keep your hands moving a little bit, right? Walk around a little bit, right? Make sure that you look at everybody in the room. Rod, I'm kind of looking at you, but you're sort of like this.
You're just a computer, Rod.
You're just a line in a chat window. So, but, you know, look at everybody. Pay attention, right? Engage with the audience. Talk to the audience.
Rod says, what can I say?
Talk to the audience, right? You know, I just went to Julio and asked him a question, right? And now Julio's engaged in the conversation, right? You know. Now, granted, there are people in the room that are going to have body language that says, "Don't talk to me," and you should not talk to them. But there are people in the room that are probably going to want to talk, that will be more than happy to communicate with you. And if you start to get feedback and back and forth, you're going to get a better presentation. And people are going to walk out of there going, wow, that guy was good. And that presentation was good. And I learned a lot, right? And so that's the key here, right? So that's really all it is, right? Quickie, right? That was like 30 minutes. In 30 minutes, it told you how to change your world. You know?
So it's interesting, Brian, that you did this, because one of the things I've been doing right now is, you know, we're changing the way business works in our office and stuff, downsizing some things, I'm getting new projects and things. So I'm out looking for work a little bit. And one of the things that I've run into is people want to see examples of your work in today's world. They want to see that presentation.
Yep.
They want to see, here's an app I built. Here's a web page I built.
Yep.
And this is what we got to do, is learn how to present this.
You want to go to work at Twitter or Bootstrap or, you know, Facebook or any of these companies, chances are they're going to require you, they're going to ask you, what open source projects are you working on? I don't know about you guys, but I'm not working on any open source projects. But I have my own projects, right? And, you know, and we all have our home projects. And, you know, so start your blogs, present up here. You're going to be on YouTube. You're going to be stored out there. You're going to be linkable to, right? And all things being equal. So the biggest question I get asked by students and other people who are like, how do I get a job? And does a certification make more difference than non-certified, or a degree, or blah, blah, right? And the bottom line is this, right? Anything you do can help you, right? I'm not going to tell you go get certified, because it may not help you. But if all things are being equal, if there are two people in the room and everything is basically the same about the two people, and you have the thing and the other guy doesn't, you're likely to get hired because you have that thing, right? You have the presentation. They have seen you in action, right? They have seen your code online. They have seen that you have the certification. You have the whatever, right? And this helps, right? And then the other big thing, and the key, is branding, right? Who are you, right? Do you just want to be a coder, a heads down coder at your desk all day? Great. That's fine. You don't need any branding, right? But if you want to be more than that, if you want to have a chance to speak or go to conferences, right? This is a stepping stone. Those people that speak at Visual Studio Live and all these other places that are, you know, even the evangelists, they started out being people that spoke at user group meetings, were really good at it, and got picked up, and eventually, you know, and then said, hey, Visual Studio Live, I've got a presentation for you. Here's some samples, you know. How would I come out? They're like, hey, that's a good presentation. Come on out, right? Then all of a sudden you're at a conference being paid for by the conference because you're giving a presentation, right? Wouldn't that be pretty cool?
Which reminds me, there's a call for papers and presentations right now for live in Orlando in December. They are calling for that right now.
So there
Get
you
out
go.
there, Brian.
Get too many jobs.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? Rod, do you have a question?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Oh gosh, they can't. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Then ask it.
He's typing a message.
Thanks for coming.
From that full development life cycle?
We have, or we could.
Okay.
SDLC or you?
Is it required?
This is a great question. What do you do when someone in the crowd knows the topic better than you do? That happens to me every time.
Involve them.
Yeah.
How do you do this? This is how I did it. Do you do it differently? Involve them, right? Don't let them take over. Involve them. Get them as part of the presentation. Then, that's if you got a know-it-all in the audience, involve them. Work with them, right? You know, you don't want to battle them. You know, you'll lose your audience. You'll lose a lot of things. So work with them, right? And hopefully, if it's really bad, somebody else in the audience will help you and kind of shut the guy down a little bit, you know. So don't sweat that, right? If somebody knows more than you, then you know, go. Well, this is how I learned it, and then they go, oh, there's another way to do it, and you're like, well, great. Can I talk to you offline after this because I'd really like to learn that too, right? Back to Julio's question. Have we had? I don't think we've ever had like a full cycle
Life cycle
presentation.
No, and we need one.
You know, I'm actually getting ready to start a project that we put in my head because I'm nervous because I don't know what it's going to be like in the end. That's why I'm nervous. But I'm actually about to start a new project, and it's like going to be the first like full-fledged from start to finish Scrum Agile. You know, and I'm having a meeting next week, and the meeting's going to, you know, who are our customers, what are their value statements, and we're gonna, and so through that I'll probably have something to share at the end. But if you have something that
Do you have something, Julio, that you've done in that area?
Well, I've been on committees where we had to develop our software development life cycle, and been heavily involved with that, but that was a while back ago, and now I'm back where for this particular project I'm on, I'm got to write the business requirements again, and I'm like thinking, oh, I got to go back to what I've done before and kind of see what I need to do again, and so it's very challenging.
It's interesting because I'm in the same spot, needing to do this, and I haven't done life cycle in software ever. I used to be a reliability engineer in the hardware side of things,
Right.
different concepts, somewhat. But I found on Pluralsight, and I haven't watched it yet, but on Pluralsight I have found a life cycle management little, 4, 5, 6 hour class.
Right, and I also found it on Safari Online.
Yeah, and there's Safari Online. I have those are my two things.
Lair or something like that. I don't remember the name. Lair requirements.
now are you a single shop guy, or do you have a team, or
There's a team, but I feel disconnected because I'm remote.
right?
And so I've been giving the charge of just doing leading things and just doing things on my own. So I'm like a one-man shop.
I'm seeing a collaboration coming out of this.
I think that there could be some, and I hesitate to send you down the the waterfall or the old SDLC model too. That getting some understanding on on Scrum, and even in, but and then there's a version of Scrum that you might feel more comfortable with called SAFE, which apparently is government-derived Scrum, because the government still wants their requirements documents, but that's like so totally against the whole Agile methodology that like they had to find a way to kind of, you know, meld the two processes together so that your customer gets what they want and, you know, the development team gets to do what they want.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, Dave, I'd be more than happy to have a quick conversation, you know, to go over what we're going to do.
You know, Rod is jumping on this too and saying, tell me about that, because that's exactly what the state wants. Yes, okay, and I was asking if he could hear Julio in the conversation.
So SAFE, it's a Scrum version called SAFE, or an Agile version called SAFE.
So he actually typed that question before you got to that. So yeah. I'm trying to figure out exactly what he was asking about. Are you just talking about the life cycle in general, Rod? Just yes or no will do fine. We need to two-way this up.
He can't. He just isn't. He's got it on his machine. He can't.
Are you using the Outlook, the Office chat?
I'm using Skype for Business.
You can do video.
Yeah. He can do video and audio if he had it turned on. It's up to him.
So we turn it on.
Hey, Rod, go ahead and turn on your mic if you got one.
250. Which I think
we'll see what our speakers are like.
Unmanageable, but yeah, you could do it at 250. You are on.
Here we go.
I tried to do the speakers.
The state is dedicated to waterfall because of the magic word requirement.
Requirement is not tied into waterfall.
Yeah, no, but that, yeah, you're right. It's not tied to the waterfall.
Right.
But that makes perfect sense that the state's tied into that.
Right, governments are. So
yeah.
A lot of them. But they've also recognized that the agile methodologies are more successful, and so they're working with us. And so the way I'm envisioning my project going is, you know, I'm probably going to be 4 to 6 weeks before any code even really starts to get laid down. I'm going to have weekly meetings with the team, and we're just going to start talking about the most priority thing first. Get some loose requirements, right? We're not getting into that. There needs to be a button, and there needs to, you know, no.
Sorry, it's very high level.
You stay at that level.
No design included, just high level requirements. And once you have that fleshed out, then you go into how can the system support those requirements.
Well, and then you start going back and telling the developers to start building to the requirements, and you let the developers and the design come organically through open communication.
That's where your architect stuff's in.
Right.
And having knowledge of the system and how we can direct developers how to develop something that's going to support what they need to.
Right. And the other key is to develop something that quickly and small that you can get to in front of your customer to say, do you like this? Right?
Hello.
This color, you know, do you like these things, and get it in front of them. It's kind of, there's a lot of rad in Agile without the whole, like, you know, here I'm going to develop a prototype. You know, I'm actually going to develop you something that works, and you're going to, you know, and you're going to go from there.
So Rod says he's having trouble with his mic, or he'd join us.
Okay.
So, work on later.
So, you know, I mean, like, if Dave, you know, like I said, if you guys want to meet sometime.
Well, I would love to. I mean, this project, the project I am on is a time-limited 6 months, start to finish. And it's hell. So I would like to meet sometime soon and, you know, pick you guys' brains too about this whole process. Because that's exactly, you know, one of the things I need to do is get my head wrapped around the development process. At the same time, I'm wrapping my head around what we're going to develop and how we're going to get it.
So
feds, so.
So any other questions or comments? Rod, are you okay?
Rod is typing. Yep, he's fine.